Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's session, we are going to learn what a bow stance is, and we're going to work on single whip, which is the movement that follows wave hands like clouds. We already actually learned half of the movement with the hook hand and the foot to the corner direction, but today we are going to get into the rest of that movement. Okay. Now, let's review what we did in our last session. So I'm going to turn and face the other direction first, just so we get used to what that feels like, because when we start getting into the longer movements, that's how we're going to practice. So starting in prepare, right where you are, feet shoulders width, opening, inhale, rotate and lift. Exhale, upper arms, forearms, and palms sink down. Drop those right fingers. We're going to wave hands. So right arm comes up, left arm's going to come to the side, and we step. Come to center. Keep turning from your waist. Step to the corner. Turn. Make your hook, looking that direction. Relax your left foot. So let's get into single whip. Okay, first thing we want to learn is what is a bow stance. We start and prepare. I'm going to mirror you. For single whip, we have our right foot to the corner direction. Remember, we're in our own square box. So we're going to shift to the left, and we're going to turn and open that right foot 45 degrees to the corner. You're going to sink down. What happens as you sink your weight into that right leg? Do you notice that your left heel starts to lift a little bit? Now, you're on the toes. You're going to step out on this same line that your foot is already on, and you're going to step out. Heel touches, whole heel bone. Then the ball of the foot and the toes touch. You bend the knee so that there's a little bit of weight in there. Now, right now, both knees should be in line with the toe direction. So we want to make sure we're not here. Both knees in line. We have to use our hips. Then we're going to move forward, and we're actually going to turn our torso open so that we end up vertical. Okay? What I want you to get right now on the next 2 times is the width between your stance. Okay? So that means that our feet are running on these 2 train tracks. They're not as wide as train tracks, but just to give you an idea. Starting parallel, shift. Turn that right foot, sink, knees in line, then step out naturally. Don't reach, just touch. Heel, ball toe, bend the knee, then move forward. Okay? Check your knee over the ankle. If you can lift your toes, you've gone not enough. If you can lift your heel, you're too much. We want our knee over our ankle. Okay? So one more time, keeping that width, and then I'm going to turn so we can all move in the same direction. Parallel stance, shifting left, turn that right foot open, sink down, knee in line. So maybe you're only sinking to here, and then you step out a little bit. You move forward. The goal is, can you shift back, pick up your toes, and come back without being out here and dragging your foot or having to move very quickly, okay? So let's turn so we're all facing the same direction. This is the direction of single whip. Turn and open those right toes. Sink. I want you to step out. Now watch. I'm stepping to where my foot touches. I'm not going to reach, okay? Every person is going to be different. It could be this. Don't reach, just touch. Let your whole foot touch and bend the knee. I want you to feel the difference from having your leg locked and there's no weight in this front foot versus connecting and grounding and being rooted on the whole foot is now suction cupped or velcroed to the ground. Now from here, we're going to move forward. But we're not just moving forward like this. This is one variation of a bow stance where we can lean into it. Single whip, we're going to turn our torso open to the side. So we want to be vertical. This means that our hips are sitting level, okay? Make sure you're sitting level this way, and our torso and hips are open towards this corner direction. So they match our back foot, okay? So everything should be going towards this corner direction. Now look down at your front knee. Again, too far, you can lift the heel. Not enough, you can lift the toes. If you're in that perfect position, it's kind of hard to lift either. Same thing on the back foot. Okay, how's your back foot? What's the rotation like? Okay, so stay where you are. With this position, when we turn and we turn our torso and open, a lot of the times this front leg likes to come in. We want to think about rotating from our hip joint right here to open. It's not just pushing the knee out. We have to rotate so that this whole leg is going to be in line with the knee direction. Now with the back leg, we want to think knees in line, right? But it's not locked, it's not too bendy, but it's engaged, okay? Remember, this is a bow stance, an archer's stance. This is a strong martial arts stance, and the slow walking is what gives us the balance and stability that everyone loves about Tai Chi, okay? Let's do it 2 more times with that waist turning, okay? So open up those right toes, sink, and look where the torso is already. We're already turned. We're starting here. That's going to help you step out. Then now as you move forward, keep your torso open and sit vertical. Okay? I'm going to show you from this direction. If you want to turn and join me, you're welcome to. I want you to see the torso. So I'm now straight. I'm going to turn everything. So watch, if I hold my arms in a hug a tree position, everything's going to turn. Then I'm going to sink. And it's going to stay this direction. And it's going to stay this direction. And again, check that when we turn, our knee doesn't come with it. Okay? So one more time. Making it easier for yourself. Turn and open. Sink, knee in line. As soon as that knee starts to cock in towards the center, come back up. Little bit goes a long way. You will get stronger. Step. Connect. Feel that foot is Velcroed. Now move forward. Keep that torso open. Check, hands on your hips. How do we do? Are they level? Are you sitting like you have a pole, nice and straight up in the air? All right, that's it. So now let's learn the transition from that relaxing of the left foot. So remember, we do wave hands like clouds. We step, and then we're going to step to the corner. And we're going to relax that left foot. So we're already in the position where all the weight's in the right leg. And now we're just going to make sure we step out wide enough. And then we turn and open. That's it. Okay? So we already had half of the bow stance before we even did this session. So from our wave hands, we're going to step wider. We're going to shift, and we're going to step to the corner. We're going to immediately relax that left foot as we shift the weight to the right. Most of the weight is in the right leg. Then we're going to pick up, we're going to step, and we're going to move that weight forward. About 60-40. So definitely a little bit more weight in the front. You'll feel it more when we get into a traditional bow stance with the lean. But single whip is one of 3 movements in the traditional long form that require a vertical torso. So we're learning that first. Unfortunately, it is the harder of the variations to learn. So we really have to work on that hip opening. Let's do it one more time. So we start in that parallel stance. We did our wave hands. We step to what we say is about double wide. Shift, don't stand up. Shift level across. Then pick up, step shoulder width to the corner, relax your left foot, then step wide enough for your bow stance, root, and then turn and move forward. Okay, not too hard, right? Feeling pretty good. Okay, you want the even easier part? You ready? The arms. So we have our hook hand. The hook hand's going to stay where it is. We're not even going to talk about that right now. Our left arm is in that ward off position from wave hands like clouds. When we do single whip, we're going to do what we call is a standing ward off. So we're going to drop our elbow down and we're going to open up to the side as we rotate our palm. Because then we're going to push out. Okay? So we go from ward off, we drop the elbow a little bit, and we're going to rotate the whole arm till the fingers sit up, and then expand a little bit for a push. Okay? In the last session, we talked about the meaning of single whip is striking to somebody's throat area. Okay, that's why it's important to make sure that we're showing the bend in the wrist. We're using this point, okay, as the impact point in this lovely soft tissue. The meaning of this, so that you can understand, is it's against two opponents. We did our hook hand over here, that's why we're looking, and then something's coming from this area. We don't know what it is. We're going to connect, and then we're going to push. So it's just a connection of like what's going on, and then we're going to expand into our opponent. And what you'll notice is that your hook hand is not going to change. Okay? This is the important part. So when we're doing this movement, your hook hand is to the corner, set up. Okay? Hook hand to the corner. You're going to do your standing ward off, and you're going to move forward. But as you do that, you want to make sure that your hook hand is staying here. So we don't want to do this movement and then do this. You see how my hook hand just disappeared? You can't see it anymore. Okay? We don't want to do this. Okay? One of the 10 essentials is chest sinking and back rounded. So to show you from this direction, look, the hook hand is at the fan. Okay? It's going to stay at that fan-ish. Okay, I'm moving my torso forward, so it's going to come forward, but it doesn't do this. It doesn't do this. Okay, make sure relaxed. Okay, so even though we're in a large frame of Tai Chi, we don't want to have our chest open and expand. We want to sink that energy down to our middle. Okay, that we do by keeping that chest sinking in and back rounded slightly the whole time. So we have approximately 130 degrees between the arms. So we have one straight and one to the rear corner direction. Okay? Remember, everything is within your own square box, and that box is traveling with you throughout your practice. Okay? Now, let's do it a few times. We're going to practice. Let's start from this side of wave hands like clouds so we can really get into the movement, okay? Right hand is seated, left arm is rounded in that ward off position. We're going to step wider. Then we're going to transfer across to the left side. Now we're going to step into the corner. We're going to relax that left foot right away, make a hook. Now you're going to drop that elbow and step. As you root, you're going to connect. Make sure that that elbow is dropped down so you can still expand out. We're going to look through the palm of our hand. Now let's talk about our striking surface. With the palm, we are not using a palm flat at us. We are not using the edge like this. We are going to use this lovely L-shaped portion right here, from here to here. If you have a wall close to you, tap on the wall. You can find that point. So you'll feel a difference of if you use the edge of your palm, it's going to send your hand back like this. If you use too much, it's a lot of pressure on the wrist right here. If we hit this exact point, the bones line up here. So we can get a nice striking surface. And you can do it with both palms. Okay? So if we hold both palms up in this position, it should look like you have a giant beach ball between your hands. That's when you have the right position. And then we just have one palm out for a single whip. Okay? Remember little gaps between your fingers like that first session. Tiger's mouth is open. Okay? And we're always looking where the action is happening. So the action was happening at our hook hand. Then the action is going to happen with our palm strike. And when we're in our final posture, we want to make sure that our head is actually looking through the palm, that we're not just looking with our eyes. Okay? So we've done a lot of movement practice. We're going to do one more round of repeating from wave hands to single whip. Once we get into single whip, I want to take a moment in what we call is still practice. So we're going to hold that pose for a moment. We're going to hold that posture and work on the details. Why is this important? When we hold a position, that gives us time to work on the 10 principles. It gives us time to focus on alignment. So then when we get to each end posture, we know we're in the correct position. So let's start on that right side of wave hands again. And we're going to step out wider. You're going to come to the center position and keep turning. Step to the corner. Relax that left foot. Come make a hook. Follow the action. Step out. Look through that left palm as you push. Okay, so right now I want you to check. Do you feel like you're vertical? Okay. How are your arms? Dropped elbows. We don't want to chicken wing with that right arm. Extend it out long. Make sure that intention is with that bent wrist. Not too open. Corner direction. Pushing out with that left palm. Are you looking with your eyes? Or are you looking and turning your head, maybe getting a little bit of a stretch? Now your breath should be your guide. If it starts feeling too intense, maybe you need to work on a smaller stance. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe you need to relax your shoulders down. We want to feel like there's a weight pulling from the elbows. Okay, now I want you to drop the arms. Don't move your feet. Okay, turn on your right heel. So turn your right toes to straight. Do you have two lines between your feet? They're not crossed. If you did, you're doing great. You're meeting the requirements of the bow stance. Okay? Now, let's put it all together, get our big practice in, prepare, opening, wave hands like clouds one time, and then single whip. Run through your checklist, feet shoulders width apart. Fingertips brush the side. Inhale and come up. Use this moment, settle the mind. Drop those right fingers, sink down, shift to your right, circling, step. Remember, turn your waist, let your head follow to the left, step to the corner, single whip. Make your hook, step wide enough, standing ward off, and push. Check your final position. How are you feeling compared to your still practice? Then relax the arms and again, check your footwork. If you turned on your heel, bring your toes to match your left foot. Do you have those two lines? Single whip is one of the harder movements to get those two lines. So we want to get it kind of ingrained in our practice right away. It's easier to learn it right the first time than to break habits that we end up creating for ourselves. This is why we focus on alignment so much. So let's do it again. Prepare. Opening, rotate and lift. And then sink down. Right arm comes up and then to the right side. Step. Everything's in center. We keep turning. We step to the corner, shoulder width. Relax your left foot. Make a hook. Drop that elbow. Step. Connect that whole foot and push. Okay, one more time. Let's start feet together. This is how we normally start. Okay, then we shift. We lift the heel of the left foot, the ball and the toes, and we step toe, ball, heels. Rotate and lift, opening. And then bring those arms down. Drop the right fingers, start sinking and shift. Step. Turn, don't stand up. And then single whip, corner direction, make your hook, drop the elbow, step wide enough, look through that palm, keep those knees in line with the toe direction. Single whip. Awesome. Great work today. Thank you so much for joining me.